Hey, Dr. Tracy here at LiveWell Spinal Care. Not the greatest at live videos, but we're gonna do this. So it's 2022, and my plan was to do a 3-week, 21-day mobility challenge. So I named it Mobility Challenge because it could include stretching, foam rolling, or using different tools, which I'll go over today, to work any area of the body, whether it's just 2 minutes on the left side and 2 minutes on the right side and you're done, or you spend 5 to 10 minutes, either way. I am going to try to post something on the LiveWell Spinal Care Facebook page and also on my Facebook page every single day for the next 21 days starting today. So hopefully it'll give people inspiration and or ideas. So feel free to join me and post about it on my page, or just watch every day and do it with me, or go back and watch the videos and do it with me later. But you could start this tomorrow or the next day, especially if you're just hearing about this for the first time. So I wanted to talk a little bit about mobility. So mobility can be guided or restricted if there are different joints in the spine or the wrist or the knee that are out of alignment, or your rotator cuff. If they're not in proper alignment, then they will be restricted, and then the muscles that surround the joint, whether on the top or the back or the side or the front, that hold that joint in place, they could be compensating and stressed and tension, or we could just build up tension naturally in our shoulders and our back from just like stress, which over time can cause a misalignment as well. So there are a couple of ways to improve mobility. Would be to get adjusted, and then the other way is to work on the soft tissue. So any compensating patterns. If you've ever broken your clavicle or you've ever broken your wrist, chances are that you're still going to have some scar tissue or adhesions, like in your forearm, or repetitive use if you're a tennis player. And those areas could be worked out. So you may not get it all, mostly won't get it all in one session of stretching or one session of some sort of myofascial release. But the key is consistency and persistence. So doing something at least for 21 days, I think you'll notice a difference. So we're gonna get started on the different ways and things that you can think about trying over the next 21 days. Obviously there's gonna be stretches, so we'll talk about different stretches you can do for your neck or your lower back. I have a basket full of cool tools, let me scoot back here, that can be used. So one of my favorite things, and a lot of people, is a love-hate relationship or just a hate-hate relationship with foam rollers. But I would recommend going back and looking at my LiveWell Spinal Care website. Underneath the blog video post, I do have a video that goes over foam rollers and the different kinds of foam rollers. But just a quick synopsis, the density could be really hard density, and that's going to make it a lot more painful, especially if you have tender areas and tight areas, or low density. So I got this one, it's actually Trigger Point brand, this is the logo. I got this one at Academy Sports, so that I'm guessing they probably still carry it. It's got little ridges. There are some that have really spiky teeth that can be extremely intense. So I feel like you either just need a solid one or something with like shallow ridges. And I believe these are meant to help break up the fascia. So you have fascia, which are like thin layers of tissue that encapsulate other muscle groups, the fascia can get stuck on the muscle, and the layers of the muscles are not free and moving independently. So something like a foam roller and something with ridges can help to stimulate circulation and to break up any adhesions and break up those layers a little bit so that they start to glide on each other rather than just being stuck. So we'll use the foam roller a lot over the next 21 days. Something like, this is like a foam ball. So we can use this to sit on and roll our hip and glute, or we can lean up against it on the wall and get working on our back, or we can lay on it on our lower back. So I like using different foam balls of different sizes for different areas of the body so that they can get in on the tissues in a different way. I bought a couple of these. These are not foam, but I can't tell you what kind. They're kind of squishy, but they also have a little bit of density. So these I bought for about $13 on Amazon. I believe they're called acupressure balls, but there's a whole lot of them. This one, a lot of them come in a mesh bag, which is nice so that you can keep the balls together and you can roll underneath your calf with it, or you can take them out and you can use one to use rolling on your forearm or your hip, but the smaller size is going to help get in a little bit deeper on certain areas, or depending on if you're using it on a smaller area, you'd probably need a smaller size to be effective. So lots of different things. And then I found this at a Fleet Feet store in Seattle, which I do believe we have Fleet Feet here, or you can buy this particular brand online. It's called Add a Day. You can see that. This one's cool because the rubber on the outside, it's not just slick plastic that's gonna just skim across your pants, but the rubber is grippy, so you can use this on your legs. And so if a foam roller is too intense or you can't support your own body weight rolling on a foam roller, I often offer this option for my patients to start with, because then you can just like knead it out. You can roll it out like dough. And then graduate to the foam roller eventually. This cool part here is a smaller little ball, and that is to get onto the anterior tib. For walkers or runners, this can be the area where you get shin splints on the anterior tibialis. So another option. And then one of my favorite things is just get a tennis ball. You can get super cheap tennis balls, and I stuck the tennis ball inside of a very long sock. That way I keep one in my car, so when I'm driving for a while, I lean up against that on my seat, and then I can move my shoulder, and that ball will get in and work some muscles in my mid back or upper back. But a long sock allows you to go further down and work on the lower back or the hip if you want to, but you can maneuver it a whole lot easier than just trying to pin that ball up against the seat or the wall. So today, let's see. Today we are going to just do some neck stretching, and then tomorrow maybe we'll do some hip and glutes with the foam roller. I haven't decided. I think I'm just gonna go off of whatever I feel that I am lacking the most and need to do. So today the post is just neck stretches. So anytime you stretch any area of the body, it's got to be at least a 15-second hold. So it's that time under tension, you're stretching those muscle fibers and keeping them under tension for at least 15 seconds. The nervous system and the nerves in the muscle get a signal that the muscle's under tension. And so a reflex is to send a signal to relax the muscle. So it's a protective mechanism. You stimulate that protective mechanism with a proper stretch, that over time, the more you do it, your muscles are gonna let go and release. But again, if you have really chronic tension, it's not gonna happen right away, and you may not feel even that much relief after the stretch until you've just accumulated a lot of points from doing your stretches. So, and the other thing with stretching, never a super heavy tension. So I used to think, well, I'll just go as far as I can and I'll hold that stretch as tight as I can. And that is gonna be better than just, just having a little light tension because I wanna get to really stretch. That's not the way it works. You can cause some irritation. The muscle fibers are gonna resist. It's gonna be too much tension. So what you wanna do is start with a good posture. So chest lifted, shoulders rolled back and down. Start here, and then you can go through the ranges of motion. So the neck moves in 6 directions. It moves side to side. It moves forward into flexion and extension and rotation each direction. So that's 6 directions. What we're gonna do is we're gonna hold a stretch for at least 15 seconds. So I will count to 20 or 30, just so I don't have to go 1,000, 2, 1,000. So chest up. So think about lifting your head up and over, and then also think about what muscles you're stretching. So I'm thinking about those muscles from right underneath my ear that run all the way down into the top of my shoulder. So I'm thinking about dropping that shoulder down instead of, like, oftentimes we're holding it up here and we don't know it. So I'm gonna drop the shoulder down. My chest is still lifted. My posture is good. And just holding for 15 to 20 seconds. So this is great. You get each range of motion. some sides, like the right, might be tighter than the left side, but you always want to do both sides. So then when you're doing flexion, you're going to tuck the chin to the chest and you're going to tilt the head down. And you're going to think about lifting the base of your skull, and the muscles that we're stretching are going to be running from the top of the back all the way up to the base of the skull. So I'm thinking about how can I tilt that and how can I lengthen that out and find that light tension and stop right there and hold. And then extension. Now extension can be a provocative stretch that can cause dizziness, or it can make you feel sick, or it can be a lot of pain. So anytime you're stretching and you're feeling some pain, back it off to where it doesn't hurt and hold that. But if the entire range of motion is bothersome, then I would skip it for now. And definitely if you're doing any of these, and you should be consulting with your chiropractor to ensure that you're doing them right. Or if you're feeling something funny, consult with your chiropractor and make sure, hey, maybe you need to be adjusted. So a lot of times I'll adjust someone's atlas, and then going into that motion feels a whole lot better, especially turning your head. So if you're ever driving in the car and you're looking over your shoulder, over your blind spot, and you feel pain, the number one motion for the upper neck is rotation. So if you're feeling some pain through rotation, that's a very good sign that you're probably out of alignment in the upper neck, which means the entire body is going to be out of alignment. This is where your body controls posture and a whole lot of other things that have to transfer from the brain to the body and the body to the brain. So if you go through those 6 ranges of motion and those stretches, or if, say, you're just driving in your car and that's the time you're thinking of it, you don't exactly want to just hold your head in rotation or hold your head down, but you can do side flexion in the car. So sometimes I'll do the side flexion in the car, which is one of probably the most needed ones for people. The other thing is not stretching, but just rocking your joints through the 6 directions of motion. So I call that yes, no, maybe. I'm just gently rocking my head forward and back, no, and then maybe a side to side, maybe. Maybe I'll go with you to the park. I don't know. And then lastly, I really love this one. So basically you're going to tuck your chin and then never, ever, ever roll your head all the way around in a 360 motion. Don't do it, especially in that extension, rolling your head backwards. Your skull is this huge, like 20-pound bowling ball sitting on this tiny little joint on the top of your neck. And when you roll that backwards, that puts it in a really bad spot. So don't do that, but instead you can roll side to side that first 180 degrees. So I like to just roll from ear to shoulder, in ear to shoulder. You can go slow and hold it, or you can kind of just keep moving through it. So upper cervical specific NUCCA chiropractor, I have to start with the neck stretches because from there everything else can release, surprisingly, but it does work. So feel free to post and let me know if you have any questions, or if you want me to show other areas. If you have a problem with your shoulder, your rotator cuff, or if you're having a problem with your hip or your SI joint, or some people like to call that their lower back, post a comment and let me know, and I will do a specific myofascial release or stretches around that area every day. Okay? All right. Go get them.